Yeah, Mayor made that a big deal yesterday at the board meeting, didn't he?
Good afternoon. It's indeed an honor to be before you today. I want to recognize City Directors Antoine Phillips and Virgil Miller. We believe City Director Warwick is on her way as well. Chief Helton and Assistant Chiefs Dyer and Ellison, who are here with us today, as we give our public safety briefing. Typically, we see an uptick in crime during the summer months. And if you can remember some 2 years ago, when we saw violent crime on the rise in this city and also across the nation, we implemented a number of different strategies to reduce this crime. And we implemented our holistic crime reduction strategy, and that strategy has and continues to be working. And so even sometime about 2 years ago, we were having monthly public safety meetings, and now that we've entered into the fourth quarter of 2024, we wanted to give an annual update to what's going on in the state capital city as it relates to crime. I'm happy to report that crime is not only down year to date, -4%, particularly as it relates to violent crime. It is down a -6%. The last 5 years. One of the things you'll hear Chief Helton say is that a true telltale of any city is not the year-to-date number, it's generally between the last 3 to 5 years. And we have consistently and continuously invested into the Little Rock Police Department to ensure the state's capital city's safety by focusing on police resources, whether it's been our historic raises for the Little Rock Police Department, focusing on our real-time crime center as it relates to the dollars that we've leveraged, but also prevention and intervention treatment, and as well as our crisis response teams. And when you see this holistic approach, is also a holistic funding mechanism that does not happen without our City of Little Rock Board of Directors' support of our budget and our budget request. And we continue to prioritize public safety, and that's the reason why you see that close to 58% of the city's $331 million budget goes towards public safety. And as we continue to focus on being a safer city, we want to highlight what's going on and what has contributed to that success. The tactics led by Chief Helton, whether it's dosing strategies, whether it's our community violence community response teams that are engaging our residents that may be mentally ill and in a violent episode, either also our treatment programming and dollars. These things all holistically together under the leadership of Chief Helton and the unity between the City of Little Rock Board of Directors and my administration have seen this continuous reduction in crime. We're excited about that. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens and makes certain that we're all on one accord. We also want to, as we continue to see this reduction and focus on those further reductions in those goals, is we need to continue to have the help of our residents. Earlier this year, we announced the Eyes on the Rocks campaign that helps focus on getting businesses and residents involved in our real-time crime center, where we leverage American Rescue Plan Act dollars to put more eyes on the streets to help us to be smarter on crime. We've seen huge success. We want to see more, so that means we want more residents and businesses to sign up. Chief Helton will discuss that as well. But in addition to that, as we continue to focus on the funding of our police department and we continue to make that a priority, we want to encourage residents to consider, as they go to the November 5th ballot and we focus on a safer city, to understand that what we have on the ballot is also public safety. That we will utilize a considerable amount of the dollars of the Results for the Rock committee and that campaign for that ballot initiative, that unanimous support from City of Rock Board of Directors to fund public safety fleet for both police and fire, fund additional dollars for our real-time crime center, fund additional dollars for what we do for homelessness, additional dollars for code enforcement that sometimes leads to violent actions. And that being said, that will help add more dollars to the, again, that 58% of a $330 million budget. And this is what it takes, that we make certain that the men and women of Little Rock Police Department have every resource available to him that costs money. We want to make certain that we ensure that they have those resources so we can continue to see our violent crime and overall crime continue to be driven down. And as we talk a lot about violent crime, right now, I can remember when I took my first year in office in 2019, we saw 49 homicides, and we saw an uptick. In the last few years, we've been seeing this downtick. And so right now, we've seen that, I believe, somewhere around 26 to 28% reduction in homicides. That's a big deal. And I want to say this, that while one homicide, one loss is one too many, we want to applaud the men and women of Little Rock Police Department to ensuring that it continues to get driven down. We hope to get it driven down to zero. But it happens because we're all working on one accord together for the safety of the state's capital city. As we continue to prosper, we want to get better in our safety, which we have seen, and want to continue to do that. We'll now have Chief Helton, who will go into the details of what we've seen, this constant and continuous reduction, not only in violent crime, but overall crime. And particularly as it relates to robbery and things of that nature, everything is down. And we look at the details of those numbers. When you see some of the most violent areas of our city, they too have seen reduction in crime that gets to this whole macro level. Chief Helton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. I want to thank you all for being here today. As the mayor mentioned, we've seen a decrease in crime, and this continued downward trend has been very reflective as we end the third quarter of 2024. This is a testament to our hard work and dedication by our officers, our staff, as well as our community partners. This achievement highlights the successes of our proactive strategies, community policing techniques, and our targeted enforcement actions. So the mayor kind of talked about our crime numbers. So far this year to date, overall crime is down 4%. Violent crime is down 4%. And we talk about our violent crime, that's usually your homicides, robberies, aggravated assaults, and anything that has to do pretty much with violence. So we've seen a decrease, 28% in our homicides from this time last year. 7% in rapes are down. We've seen a 6% decrease in robberies in our community, and then 3% in our ag assaults. Overall crime, like I said, 4% down. Property crimes, which generally plagues a lot of communities across our nation, and no difference here in Little Rock, we're overall down in all categories with the exception of one. When it comes time to burglaries and car break-ins, we see a 4% overall increase in that. So what we need to do is really encourage our community to lock up your cars, take your property out of your cars. And one of the things that really concerns me is when we talk about weapons. On the average in the city of Little Rock, we lose 6 guns per week that are stolen out of vehicles. You do the math, that's 312 guns a year that find their way to our streets and become crime guns. We've got to do a better job in securing our weapons. Take them out of your vehicles. So we talk about that and how important it is for those things to occur and how it usually reflects over into our summer months. When we talk about summer months, that June to August corridor is usually a pretty violent time in our communities. When we see an increase in a lot of our crimes, you got schools out, a lot of people out doing things, the temperature gets warmer, so you see usually an elevation there. Over the last 5 years, on average, we had roughly about 997 violent crimes reported from the month of June to the end of August. This year, in 2024, we only had 934. The real significant number that stands out to me, if you go back and look at 2021, 2022, and 2023, we saw over 1,000 incidents reported of violent crime during those 3 years. So we're roughly down 6% from what we were this time last year over the summer. A lot of people ask, what's that contributed to? Well, I think a lot of different things that we did. One, I'll talk about the holistic approach. Our Department of Community Programs here within the city had a very successful youth summer employment program. We saw more numbers this year than we've seen in the past, and we were able to put a lot of young people to work over the summer, so we're keeping them off the streets. We had the initiative that was called Project Impact, where we focused on areas of our city that what not only could the police do, but how do we bring in other resources within the city's departments to target issues that are quality of life issues in neighborhoods, trash, ditches, abandoned cars, weed lots, abandoned property. So we came together as a group collectively and went into neighborhoods where we saw historically high levels of crime, and we took a full-fledged, all-hands-on-deck approach to cleaning up certain areas. And we're going to continue that initiative going forward in the future because we saw a huge impact with that. Our enforcement efforts. We had Operation North Star was here recently. There was a press conference a couple weeks ago in reference to that operation with the United States Marshal Service along with the Arkansas State Police and various other local law enforcement agencies to really target bad actors within our community. These are people that are really the worst of the worst, the bad of the bad, out here pulling triggers, causing a lot of violent crime to go up. So that was a targeted effort, very successful. We also had an operation we did with the Arkansas Attorney General's Office related to organized retail crime. We've seen stories across the country with issues related to that. We did a successful operation not only here in our city, but North Little Rock and Conway to target those businesses where we're seeing organized retail crime occur. So those initiatives in the summertime, along with some data-driven resources, you heard the mayor mention dosing, we use the data to put us in the areas that we see that are occurring more often, that we see crimes being reported. So we focus our efforts and our resources to go into those locations to help drive down crime. And to me, the most important thing on the back end of that, our community engagement. Our community engagement has increased tenfold, getting more neighborhood associations involved, getting the community to work with us on solving the problems. While I am very proud of our progress, we know there is still a lot of work to be done. Our commitment to public safety remains stronger than ever, and we will continue to engage with our community to ensure a safe environment for all our residents. By focusing on building trust, promoting communication, and leveraging the latest technology, we're able to respond more effectively and prevent crime before it occurs. You heard the mayor talk about our Eyes on the Rock initiative that came out earlier this year. Been very successful, but I can promise you, we need more involvement from our community. As of today, our real-time crime center, we have just over 2,100 cameras registered from our community members that have registered their cameras. We have roughly a little over 1,800 cameras that have been integrated into our crime center, and those could range anywhere from schools, local businesses, some of our community stakeholders. For our city, as fast as we're growing, that needs to increase. Our real-time crime center has been a huge part of why we've seen a downward trend in crime, and we've got to continue that. Everybody has a role in helping to make our city safe, and just simply registering and getting on board, that's going to help us. Help be part of the solution. I want to thank our local law enforcement partners and my personnel and the team behind me of my assistant chiefs for all the work that they've done and their tireless efforts and commitment